Well, it was going to happen eventually, and last week I went to my first funeral here in Thailand. I want to say a few things before I get into this whole story. First off, I am not trying to capitalize on this event at all. In fact, I'm not going to monetize this video. It was just a whole different experience being a Westerner and coming to a funeral here. So I just wanted to share it with anybody that might be interested. I'm sure plenty of you are asking who passed away, and that's what's most tragic about this is the who. Last week, this world lost an amazing, beautiful girl, full of life, only 7 years old. Her name was Patarapon. Like I said, 7 years old and fully stricken with cancer. Now, how did I become aware of any of this? It was because of the charity foundation that I belong to out here. The Bertie Foundation's got a simple mission. Our whole point is to just help people in need. We have a long history working with the Banglamong Hospital, especially Nurse Oi. We've done a couple different donation events to the hospital. The most recent one we did was actually in Nurse Oi's name, honoring her and the great work that she's done in Pattaya, her contribute gifts to just making this city healthier and safer. Nurse Oi, a couple times now, has reached out to the Bertie Foundation when somebody or family particularly in need comes through the hospital. Now, like I said, we've been working with Nurse Oi for almost 2 years now, and the story of Patarapon is the third time that she's ever reached out to us. Normally when she reaches out to us, we just kind of pull together some extra money. It doesn't come from our normal donations. It's an extra charitable event for us, and we take care of somebody and just usually getting them some food or a medical device or helping with some of their bills. The story here was that there was a terminally ill girl, and her mother and grandmother were taking care of her. Now, they had spent a bunch of money just on formula to keep her as healthy as long as possible, keep her calories and nutrition up, and diapers, because even though she was 7 years old, she was pretty bed-stricken already. This was definitely the last phase of her life. So Nurse Oi just asked us if we could help with some more formula and diapers. This is what Bertie does. We went up and beyond, and we not only bought a bunch of formula and diapers for her, but we also raised just a bunch of cash to give the family, just to help them out however they can. Bertie doesn't normally give money out as a foundation. We typically don't do that in our monthly events, but sometimes on a side event like this, we look at it a little bit differently. All of this happened within just a day. We found out about it, we raised money, and the next day a few of us went to the hospital to donate the diapers and formula that we bought, as well as give the family some money. Well, the family was no longer in the hospital. Patarapon had been released and was back home, and Nurse Oi reached out to them, and the family invited any of us to come over the next day. And that's when all these connections really start. So just a handful of us, I didn't go, went to the house the next day, and they met this amazing girl. The family said that, the mother works night shifts at the hospital, so grandma is here taking care of her now. The family unit at the home is just the three of them. And they said that the poor girl was very tired and worn most of the time, no energy, mostly sleeping. She was already on morphine at this point. But with our members coming and visiting her, they said it was just like a whole new breath of energy that she had. And we instantly fell in love with her. Once again, I wasn't there, but it really hit my friend very hard, and he wanted to do more for the family. So Him and another member talked to the family, and they agreed to take care of their rent for the next year. Now, they have a small Thai place here in Pattaya. Their rent is 3,000 baht a month. That same day, they went out to the store. They bought some coloring books for Patarapon because she just loved to color, and they made some other plans to do some things. But long story short, instantly that day, their family became part of the Bertie family. I'm not exactly sure how it all happened, but after a day or two of my best friend out here meeting Patarapon, he was invited to become her father and officially join the family. Now, I'm a little iffy on this whole process, but it involved going through some ceremonies and spending time at the table. I think a lot of it had to do with him taking the role of her father during her funeral, which we knew was going to be coming sooner than later. Like I said, she was in her final stages of life when we became involved with her. It was very moving to see him step up into this role, and for Bertie to embrace the family as part of our family. In fact, the day after the funeral, we all went to my friend's house to stuff stockings. If you don't know, last year Bertie gave out 200 Christmas stockings. This year we're going to give out 400 Christmas stockings. They are already stuffed, but we are still fundraising for this, and all money donated to Peteonretreat's Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link in the description. Will be going directly to fund our Christmas stocking drive for 2025. 400 stockings filled with toys and candies. On average, every stocking costs about $3. So once again, everything you give Peteonretreat Buy Me a Coffee goes directly to the stocking fund. I thank you all for contributing to that. We quickly learned that she loves cats, and that since she loves to color, my girlfriend recently has been painting different cat portraits, so we gave one to the family. Unfortunately, it was only about another week until Patarapon lost her fight with cancer, and Bertie was invited to the funeral. The mother asked us to come. She wanted us to wear our Bertie shirts or uniforms and just be a part of all this. And this is more what this video is supposed to be about. It's about my experience at the funeral, because it was different than anything I've ever experienced before. Now, I know a bit about Buddhism, and I understand that a lot of the principles are how you deal with grief and trials in life, and that it's our reaction to this that makes it emotionally impactful, and that's a horrible paraphrase. But right off the bat, when we showed up to the funeral, we were greeted by the mother with a huge, warm, open smile and almost no feeling of grief, just joy that we were there. It was really interesting. I'm so used to, you show up to a funeral and family members are often having a hard time just keeping their composure. She did let down emotionally later on. Something else that was really different about this funeral was the amount of people taking pictures. We were told when we showed up, it's totally okay to film and take photos. We were actually encouraged to do so, which kind of prompted me to making this video anyway. I still didn't do a lot of filming there, and I took almost no photos, but here's what the whole ceremony was like. And from my understanding, this is a pretty traditional Buddhist Thai funeral. So we arrived and we went in, we lit some incense, kneeled before a statue of Buddha, and before her body that was behind the statue. It was on a raised platform, already in the casket. After saying those prayers and sticking the incense in some sand in a container, I'm so horrible with all this tradition and what things are actually called. I need to improve on that. We sat outside and waited for the ceremony to begin. When the ceremony began, it was a group of monks that came in procession. I think there was about 8. They walked from the temple over to the room where this type of ceremony happens. Everything takes place right here on the temple grounds. It was a temple I'd never been to before. It was out on the dark side. They have a school there. They have monks that live there. The crematorium is there, and we'll get into that. But the monks come in and they sat on a raised pedestal inside the room. We were sitting outside the room. We were actually sitting in front of a lot of the people that went. Bertie was given a very, highly respected spot at the funeral. Some of us were inside, and the monks began to chant. One of them chants over an intercom system so everybody could hear it, and I don't know what the chants were at all. I definitely couldn't understand any of the Thai. And the chants go on for quite a while. Then there's some ceremonies that happen with the family inside and some smaller groups where they went up and they got blessed by the monks. At least that's what it looked like from my point of view. Then they bring a wagon up and the casket is put on the wagon. At that point, we all go in a procession following the wagon, and we circle the crematorium / temple. It's kind of a small building. We circle it 3 times counterclockwise. During that, some people were throwing out bags of coins, and many of the family members and guests were running out and picking up the coins. I guess that's all part of the tradition. For the most part, us Stockings just left that because, I don't know, it was different and felt weird to be taking money from people that probably could really use the money. And anyway, some people actually brought plastic bags for collecting money, and this seemed to be a really good thing for them. Anyway, after that, the body is carried up the stairs to the main area above the crematorium, and just immediate family went up there, and my friend went up there, and they do a little ceremony there. They do some things with coins, placing them out, and the rest of the guests, we then went into a room that was facing the crematorium, I guess to get out of the sun. We were able to sit down. More chanting and prayers were given by the monks again over an intercom, and then the body was cremated. Yeah, it was during all this part, especially before the body was brought up the stairs, and after the 3 circles around, that the mother and the grandmother really began to break down. That's always the hardest part for me at a funeral. Is I deal with death reasonably well, so it's often not about my loss, but it's the empathy that I have when I see other people grieving for their losses. That's what gets me, and that definitely got me here. After all the prayers were concluded and the body was placed in the crematorium, some of the guests left. Bertie hung around to comfort the family. We met the mother and the grandmother, if we hadn't already met them. There was plans made to scatter the ashes the next morning in the water here in Pattaya, at a place that's known for doing this, that is pretty close to the Sanctuary of Truth up north. We were all still there when ashes began to rise out of the spire or smokestack that's on top of the crematorium. Like I mentioned earlier, the day after the funeral, we had the mother and grandmother Patarapon come to my friend's house and help stuff stockings with us, and it was really cool. That was the same morning that they went and spread our poor girl's ashes out on the water in Pattaya. Shai said that they were pretty down that morning, and when they came over, I mean, we all had some food, we had some snacks, and we worked. Stuffing 400 stockings took several hours, even with a very efficient factory line set up. But they were great. They joked with us and laughed with us, and we could see that it was a much needed distraction for them. And I look forward to just our continued family relationship and support that Bertie is able to give their family moving forward. Patarapon has a little brother, and Bertie is already making plans to be there for him as he grows up. I mean, he was so cute at the funeral. He's obviously not old enough to really understand what was going on, but even when mom and grandma were crying, he was running around just playing with everybody. There was a moment where some of the family got him over to give his mother a hug, but like I said, Bertie's going to work on a college fund, and we're going to continue to be a part of their life, and they're going to be a part of the Bertie family. It just makes me once again realize and take time to appreciate how lucky I am for everything that I have in life and for my good health. So I just want to thank you all for watching. This is Pete on Retreat. Tell the ones you love that you love them. Make the most of every day, and I wish you were here.